what's going on, guys? It's Shadow bringing you guys another video. It's been a minute, had to get my computer back, but back on the grind. Here I'm facing a Belo. I lost dice roll, ended up going first. I open up with This Is My Era, and I find stage and I pass turn. Belo is an interesting pick. It's making kind of a comeback since it did get a decent amount of support in this new OP9 set. So facing my buddy Justin, he opens up with the Belo one cost searcher. You can look at the top 5 cards and grab a Revolutionary Army. Majority of the time you're looking for the Ivankov, the 4-cost Ivankov. If you already have that, Karasu's a great pick because Karasu on play minus 1,000 to your opponent's leader, and on attack give another minus 1,000. So very great to get the Karasu off the Ivankov. And you see here, it looks like he just grabbed, I think he grabbed the Lindbergh first, and it looks like a Karasu, can't tell from the glare. Yep. And then he passes his turn to me. 3 down, I'm going to set the stage. And the stage is basically to help me cycle. And also putting down Dot Q. I don't use Dot Q ability here because I don't want to use it to get rid of one of these Belo Bettys. Which in theory would be great because then it'll prevent a swing next turn. However, I do have Laboon in hand, I believe. Or I think I'm looking. Yeah, I do have one Laboon in hand, as you just saw. If he plays out, Karasu or the Ivankov to Karasu, I need to use the Laboon and a Dot Q combo to get rid of the Ivankov right away. Because every turn he'll be able to play out a body for free while putting pressure. So you see he taps 4. At best, he only plays out a Karasu, which still on play gives my leader minus 1,000. So currently I am at a 4K. And he's thinking and considering on what to pitch for his leader ability, which he ends up pitching the new Karasu blocker, which buffs up these Belo Bettys by 3K. So they're all 5K swings. I could counter out of these things, but I'm looking for some type of things to utilize, like Vasco shots or something. So I'm on my 5 down turn. I took all 3 hits. I'm going to tap for Laboon and then reduce the Karasu and pop it with the Dot Q. Swing my lead into one of these Belo Betty searchers. So you see I'm getting rid of the field little by little. I have a fat hand to look for options here. I'm going to tap 1 to play out a Lafitte and then pitch 1, which I'm pitching my Era Begins. It's non-counter. It can be used to search something, but I'd rather have the Lafitte on field to basically get a free card in hand. Other than my Era Begins will just replace itself. So I pitched the 10 drop because I want counter in the hand. Taking away his leader abilities or on play abilities, because if I play another Karasu, then I'm really in trouble. But pitching the 10 drop just because I have 3 more in the deck somewhere. I have the Lafitte and stage to cycle through it. I'd rather keep whatever counter I was able to get or have in hand. So mainly why I pitched the 10 drop. Here, Justin, what he needs to do is essentially remove this Laboon if able to and get rid of this Dot Q. Because if he doesn't get rid of Dot Q, I can utilize it to pop another body of his as long as I play like a Van Augur. Because if Laboon goes, that's fine. Van Augur will still give something a -3 reduction and work for me. So he swings at the Dot Q. I draw a card. Not too worried because, again, I have the Lafitte and the stage where I can find another Dot Q. The main thing is keeping this Laboon on the field. But all depending on how he plays it out. So you can see here, he's thinking about what to do. I do know he's going to tap 3 and play out the Rush Inazuma. And it's only Rush if he can get up to attack stat of 7K, which he does. He pitches the Lindbergh, buffs up his 1-cost Belo and his Inazuma. So now it has Rush, and he has 3 extra down. So he could swing for 7 at the Laboon, and I'll give him 2 cards, and then he could always swing for 8 again with the Belo Betty Searcher. So I opt just to let the Laboon go. It was a little pseudo blocker, and then here he's going to swing 8 into my leader, and I'm going to take it. I have the counter in hand, but again, I'm just looking for different options, which is very risky, I might say, because I don't want to take this much health very early on in the game. I could have played this a lot different. But I'm not too worried because, again, I have a lot of different options. I have stuff to search and filter out my hand with the non-counter stuff. So you see with the Lafitte, I do find a 2K stronger. And here I'm considering on exactly what to do because my goal is to remove both of these bodies this turn. the Inazuma and that Searcher, Belo Betty. So you see I pitched the stage, using the stage and find a Vasco shot, which is perfect, exactly what I needed. So if he does decide to go a little aggressive after I remove both bodies, I can chump block it with the Vasco. And you see I have 6 Dawn left. I was considering on doing something a little different. However, I'm going to opt to try to swing at the Inazuma for 6k. Not sure how much 2k counters Belo Betty runs or 1ks, but at best, if you only had a 2 and a bunch of 1ks, I'm getting 3 cards out of hand. Or he gives me 2 2ks. So here I was just hoping to God that I can get rid of this Inazuma with the swing. That way I can establish Dot Cube, popping the Belo Betty, and then establishing the Vasco to protect both the Dot Cube and the Lafitte. However, for me, he's going to counter out here with 2 2k counters, which is still not terrible for me because I take 2 cards out of hand, and he's already going to pitch for his leader ability as well. So Belo Betty is going to lose a decent amount of cards, just like I am in this game. But instead of negating on plays, he's buffing his field by 3. Or 3 characters by 3k. So pitches 2 2ks. I believe he's got 2 cards in hand, which is perfect for me. I'm starving this Belo Betty for this exact reason, to try to build a board and then fully aggressively swing at it. So I'm going to tap 2. I'm going to play out the Dot Cube to get rid of the Belo Betty, and then tap 2 to play out the Vasco shot. Do it like this so I can, yes, again, potentially block the Dot Cube hit or for my leader swing. And this time I pitch a Van Augur to do my leader ability. Maybe should have kept it, but I think I chucked the Van Augur just because I do have a Laboon in hand, which gives more of a reduction than the Van Augur would by 1. However, I do draw off Van Augur, so there's benefits to the Van Augur for me in this deck. Pitching the card doesn't allow him to, if he does play a dragon, he does not give the 2 extra Dawn cards his leader or any of his characters, which really doesn't matter because, again, he can utilize his leader ability to give plus 3k to all 3 or whatever bodies he plays onto the field. The only drawback to it, he only has 3 cards in hand. So he needs to be able to build a board, go wide, and once he's wide enough, put all the pressure on me. Only thing going for me is he hasn't seen the Ivankov, which is exactly what he needs to see to be able to flood the board. So he's going to swing 6 into the Dot Cube. I let it go. I take the draw. I let it go just because, again, I can use the Lafitte and stage to dig pretty much 8 cards into the deck to look for a Dot Cube. That is, however, my second one, so there should be 2 more somewhere in the deck, if not in life or in my hand. I'm not sure exactly what I have in the hand. I do have a little book in my hand. So he's swinging 7, and he has 4 Dawn left. I believe here I'm going to counter out, which I do give him a Laboon and the Stronger, and he plays out a Lindbergh. Honestly, should have if I don't have another Laboon, I should have held on to the Laboon to get rid of the Lindbergh. Lindbergh's ability, he is able to pop a blocker or pop a 3k or 4k or less. I forget exactly which one. He could pop something on attack. That's why I end up finger pistoling it, getting it off the field. Which, not bad. Probably, the Laboon probably would have been better because it would have established the body. Still got rid of his field. And kept 2 cards in my hand. I end up swinging for 6 at the Inazuma, and it clears it this time. He doesn't have enough cards to really give me something for it. And then now I'm going to Lafitte search, looking for something that I could use. As you can see, I am going through my hand at this point. Gave him 3 cards. Well, two for counter, and then the finger pistol, so it's 3 out of hand. Grabbing the Stronger at this point, trying to build up 2k counters or counters in general, which you see another Vasco's gonna hit the field, and I have 1 Dawn left. Unfortunate, wasted a Dawn. Feels bad, but it's okay because if anything, I would have just attached that Dawn to swing a higher attack stat at that Inazuma. And then here, me not being able to pitch for leader ability, I didn't want to pitch because I had a bunch of counter and I think the 10 drop. This allows him to search with his Belo Betty searcher, and I believe he's going to grab the dragon, which is probably the best thing he could grab at this point. Being able to still swing and be able to use that ability to attach 2 Restodon to his leader. So yep, he ends up grabbing the dragon, and I believe he's just going to play it out at this point. Yep. If not, I'm not exactly... Oh, he does have that Kuma in hand, as you guys see there. That 2-cost Kuma can pop 2k or under blocker, 2 or 1k under. So it's really good for when you're facing black to knock out the Rebecca, which is basically the bread and butter for a lot of black decks. Obviously, Blackbeard does kill that card for Lucci. But if not, that's what it's good for. But here comes that dragon, like I said. He's going to attach the Don to his leader, bringing it to 7. Still has 1 Don left. I believe it's still worth attaching, just swinging for 8. With his leader. Yep, so he's going to swing for 8. I think I'm going to take this. Again, playing super risky because I don't really have a field built out yet. No Burgesses. I'm just relying on this Lafitte and Vasco shots. Praying here. Yep. So I'm going to end up taking this life to see if I can trigger anything out or find counter for later in the game. And then there, he swings at the dragon. I'm just going to give him one of the Vasco shots. And he passes the turn. At this point, I believe I have a 10 drop in hand, which automatically I'm just going to throw it down. Well, I'm going to think, obviously I'm going to think, but yeah, 10 drop's going to be the way to go about here, to be able to stun his leader ability and stun the dragon's ability and make it unable to attack until the end of his next turn. So Blackbeard's first ability really doesn't matter to Belo Betty because it's really on her turn, but it's at least preventing this dragon from being able to swing next turn, especially with his leader ability buffing it up another 3. So I at least have the 10 drop and then a little Vasco shot. I think I'm going to just pass here, not doing anything else. Don't want to swing at the Belo Betty because if the Belo Betty is able to trigger, a character out of life, I won't be able to survive at all, especially if he uses the leader ability, because it doesn't just target Revolutionary Army cards, it will target anything with a trigger. So I know Belo Betty used to run crackers, and those would work on it. And it looks like I believe I have 5, maybe 6 cards in hand. Not much. I'm on a very, very scary spot, to be honest. But I should be able to block no problem out of one of these swings, and I'm going to have to give him the Vasco shot with the other one. But I believe I didn't use the on-play abilities, which is why he's considering here to do that Kuma, which is the best thing he could do. Because the Kuma on play will knock the Vasco shot, forcing me to have to use counter cards and the 10 drop, which the 10 drop was going to be used. However, I was trying not to use counter cards this turn, but he's going to put me in a spot where I have to, utilizing that Kuma. So you see here, he's considering on pitching for his leader ability, but at best, all he's going to do is buff up the Belo Betty, which it's really not worth doing this turn, since you can only get one swing in, since the dragon is not able to. So he's better off just really stacking on his leader and stacking on the Belo Betty and just poking. Or play out that blocker cross that I just saw in his hand. It's better to go wide at this point, which is what I think is the best thing for him to do. If he can establish another body or two, the next turn, even if I play another 10 drop, I won't be able to answer all the swings, especially with how low my hand is. So at this point, this is what he should have did. Establishing that blocker cross that he has in his hand, and potentially whatever else is in hand. Obviously, he's going to have to pass turn, not swinging at anything, since it's not really worth it. So he opts to pitch for the Karasu, bumping up to 3 characters on the field. Again, this is where I would have honestly just played out the Karasu, waited one more turn, but he's trying to put as much pressure as possible right here. So I end up blocking, giving him the teach, and I'm going to counter out with the rest. Looks like he swung for 9 with lead. I give him 2 2Ks and a 1K, putting me at looks like 3 to 4 cards in hand. I'm going to chuck the stage out with the cycle because the stage is useless. Grabbing the 2K, playing out a second 10 drop, which again is going to stun the dragon. I'm going to swing lead into the Belo Betty, 1 cost, and now I'm passing turn. So now I have 2 blockers. The teach did stun the dragon and negate the leader ability. And then Justin, I believe, has 2 cards in hand. Again, I'm playing it risky, not utilizing my leader ability here. Chose not to do it just because I needed the counter cards in hand just in case. You never know, he has another rush in Azuma here. But he has 2 swings currently. I have 2 Blackbeards. The dragon cannot swing, and you're going to see here in a second, he does forget that mid-swing. He was considering on how to go for lethal at this point. But he's trying to do the mathing it out as if he had the dragon. This is where I gotta get like some type of marker to utilize during the matches to help let it be known when the stun does happen, so that you don't forget. But he's gonna attach the Kuma, I believe, is a 5, so he's swinging for 9 right now. And I'm gonna block with the teach. And this is where he realized that he only has the 1 swing. And right here, he's gonna attach it all on leader, but I believe one of my 10 drops is gonna be able to just block it. It's only gonna swing for 11, which this misplay kind of works in my favor because now I'm able to get one more turn to be able to establish another body. Even if he had the rushing Azuma, I would have had to play around it. I believe I have enough counter. I believe all those are 2K, so it should have 6K counter, which I can get up to an 11K. Even with leader ability and playing out the rushing Azuma, it's 3 Dawn wasted, buffing it up, that'd be a 7. Oh, so he plays out a Karasu, which very, very good for him. Karasu on play makes my leader a 4K, and then now if it sticks and he swings, he can become a 4K again, which is allow him to, being able to swing bigger puts me in a rough spot for trying to counter out. So pass his turn. Pretty simple for me right here. I'm gonna have to swing at the Kuma here and find a way to get rid of this Karasu, which if I don't have a finger pistol in hand, I need to find a liberation to be able to, or a black hole to get rid of the Karasu, because the Karasu or the black hole will negate its ability and pop a 4K, which I need to find here if I want to get rid of it, which I end up finding a Burgess instead. So if I can, let's see if I have the black hole. I forgot here, so it's really entertaining here. So tap 4, end up doing the finger pistol, which will mill 2, which if I can establish the Burgess, which I probably will this turn, will help me with the next turn to potentially try to go lethal. So I tap 4, Burgess hits the field. Burgess gets plus 1,000 for every 4 cards in my trash, and you can see the trash is way bigger than the deck as it is at this current moment. So considering and opting to use stage to cycle out for some type of counter while buffing up Burgess, I know it's off screen, but I am piling the trash in, stacks of 4, and I think Burgess is gonna be an 11K. Yep, so he ends up being an 11K with 1 card left for the next pile of 4. So 3 more cards that'll make him a 12K. just why Burgess is such a busted card. It cannot be KO'd. Only way to get rid of it is to bottom deck it by using an effect like Grab Blade or 3000 World, or the Law. Bounce Law works too, or trashing with like Ben Beckman. But utilizing leader ability kind of prevents that Ben Beckman from actually working on the Burgess. So here, Justin's kind of mapping out his hand here in his math, and it kind of shows me what he has, because he separates it 3 Don. 3 Don shows me that it has to be an Inazuma rush card. So I'm going to play around it in a second here. But you're going to see he's going to attach 2 Don to his leader. And I believe he's going to swing 7. Which, in all honesty, I probably could have just countered for my hand. But I wasn't expecting a rush Inazuma. I was trying to see exactly what he's going to do. At best, he could have played a Karasu blocker, which potentially could have been what I was expecting a blocker. So he's going to swing 7. I end up blocking first. And then this is where it trips me up, because he attaches no Don onto his dragon and just swings for 9. And then I look over at his field and I see 3 Don separated and a bunch of Don off to the side. And this is where I start to realize, like, oh shoot, this is probably a rush Inazuma. So I asked to see his trash. I asked him, and he's like, you can look at the trash. So that's where I started looking for the Inazuma you're going to see here in a second. I'm considering on here what to do because I wasn't completely sure. This is where I asked to check the trash, because I do have enough counter to get out of this 9k swing. And if I block with the Blackbeard and don't counter out, I lose. I lose the game, hands down. And so once I realize it's a 3 cost, 4k, I end up giving him my entire hand, which is enough counter to barely get out of the dragon swing. If I would have countered out 2k and a 1k out of the leader swing, I would have had 2 teaches to easily block the dragon and the Inazuma. So separating your Don can sometimes actually show you what your opponent's going to do and come back to bite you. Which is what happened here for Justin. Me seeing the 3 Don separated from all the Don kind of showed me that it might have been a rush. So Burgess is now a 12k with all the counter I just dumped to try to protect my life. And this is where it's risky. He has 4 life. I have 5 swings, but there's a potential chance that he does get a trigger blocker out of life, especially since the Karasu is 1. That triggers off depending on how much life I have and my opponent's. I believe it has to be under 5. So I see that the rush Inazuma is a 1k counter, so if I want to go lethal, I need to swing with this Lafitte. I was considering on trying to search for something, but I'm not able to do that. I need to find some type of answers. So you see I grab a 2k from the search. I believe I'm going to attach 5 Don to Lafitte, if not 6, so that I can guarantee that the hit goes through, because not completely sure if it is the rush Inazuma. Obviously, from what happened last turn, more than likely it was, but attaching 6 Don to the Lafitte will guarantee the hit to go through. Here I'm looking for the Karasu to see exactly how much it is, what it needs to trigger. Not sure if he's running the Sanjis like they used to, the 4 cost blocker Sanji from 04. But this just goes to show you how long it's been since I've seen Belo Betty. So I attach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Don, so swinging for 7. Here I attach the rest of the Don on the leader, just banking because I don't have Black Hole. I had to swing at the Lafitte. If he triggers out a blocker in these swings, I absolutely lose the game. But luckily for me, you see here, nothing as far as a blocker is being triggered. He gets a Kuma, which ends up playing itself out. This is why it's a good thing I swung with the Lafitte first, because if I didn't, this Kuma could have popped it at any point. So that goes through. I have 3 more swings. He has 2 life left. I'm going to swing with Burgess and contemplated for a little bit whether to swing a Burgess or the 210 drops. Opt to just swing a Burgess first and then finish the game with both Blackbeards. And luckily it all connects and we get the win. If you guys like the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel, comment down below what you guys thought of the game, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.